Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the second part here of episode 8 of the 316 role playing game. We are getting drunk and having internal problems, and the Columbia just appeared right off our was it starboard port?
So it's always the starboard bow, right? That's where
Yeah,
everything appears.
right.
Yeah.
Well, there's a very good reason for that, right? The computer makes it so that otherwise we just we're all cattywampus. It's in space. It's 3-dimensional. Nobody knows. And we're never really actually in visual range of each other. It's just how the sensors decides to show it to us because it makes sense to us.
It's called the Roddenberry Protocol.
Yes.
It's very important to ship operations. Columbia is here, the full size planetary assault vessel, not the wee cutter that that Saratoga is. And I think we can, unless there's more fallout and inter platoon stuff to deal with. We can cut to the Saratoga Bridge for the again more Roddenberry Protocol, like the classic kind of thing, like view screen and Commander Hendricks, who commands the vessel, there with Captain Hall, Captain Young. I think Sergeant Stone and Sergeant Fisher are conspicuously absent. Lieutenant Tyrrell would be there, and it's up to your discretion, Strash, if you want the corporal ranks to be like part of the kind of like command situation. Captain Hall has never like enforced anything around that. People just show up to things, and she like gives briefings to everyone at once, and she doesn't like have a lot of protocols there. So it's up to you how you want to arrange that. You're muted, Strash.
Refresh my memory. It goes corporal, sergeant, lieutenant, captain.
Mm-hmm.
I think the corporals are do not have mandatory attendance, but they're like on the email. It's sergeant and above, right? Because like sergeants are supposed to understand how to like pass the orders down to the lower levels, and the lieutenants and the captains are usually like talking strategy, right? Like that's generally what I get. Typically,
yeah, and occasionally it's just captains and higher for various things, but yeah, that's the standard system with 316 anyway.
We're gonna keep that drill rolling.
Okay, so it's up to Pasternak whether he wants to be there or not.
Well, is this a suggested order, or is this a suggested order?
I think you get the sense that Young wants you there. Okay. It's not explicit. Like I do not come to you and like tell you I want you there, but I casually remind you that there's a meeting the next day or something at 700 or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean this is like an actual like everyone come to the bridge thing because the ship has jumped in and there's going to be like a ship to ship communications, but so it's not during the party, but like in the edit of the episode, it's the next day or something. But it's a sudden thing. It was not it was not planned. The Columbia just shows up.
Captain Hall is still the captain of the ship, correct?
Yeah. So there's like
Commander Hendricks might be the.
Yeah, there's kind of two branches. There's the Marine Force, the 316 Planetary Assaulters Infantry, mm-hmm. and then there's the Navy, for lack of a better word, the people who operate the starships and stuff. So Commander Hendricks is the commanding officer of the Saratoga as the vessel.
Yeah.
But Captain Hall is in charge of the
Marines
and also like the operations of the ship, like not operations, but like the missions.
Right.
The fleet people like carry you guys from place to place, right? It's the the classic line. I love you, Navy boys. You guys drive us everywhere we need to go. That's obviously there's more to it. If we were playing the other side of things and you had characters on that side, we would discover that they're more important than that. But that's how you think of things. The ship people don't really fraternize with the infantry very much at all. And the exception is the dropship pilots, who technically are part of fleet, but they have a lot of contact with infantry. So Yeah. So Commander Hendricks and his 2 lieutenants, Fuller and Kovach, will be there. Pasternak. It's unclear, I
I'll be
guess.
conspicuously in the background.
Okay. Floating around in the background.
Yeah.
Cool.
Trying to keep my mouth goddamn shut this time.
So the situation, hang on, let me see here. Yeah, so in the edit of the TV show, we join with the situation in progress. The commander of Columbia is on the screen there. Or sorry, not the commander of the vessel, the major of the 316, who is in charge of Columbia's planetary assault operations. I gave them a name, and then I moved my paper. Where is it? Major Shields is that person. Recorded in my notebook so it doesn't run away from me. Major Shields, who's been in the service the longest?
I think it's either.
It's one of us two.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Goodman or Young?
I have the most kills to begin with.
Good point.
I got put into your unit, so I don't know.
Well, let me put it another way. Is anyone like a short timer? Everyone's been in for a while. Is that right?
Seems like it.
Okay, so you have heard of Major Shields, and it's been in the legend category, like that one system, the legendary. No one knows if it's real. The one system that had 5 inhabited worlds, and they just sent Major Shields. You know, they sent one ship and he wiped them all out. Those kind of stories, like Patton or something like that. You know, probably sort of true, but also and everyone decides how to deal with the legendary stuff. Some people are like, yeah, there's legends, and other people are like, no, it's true, he did. You know, and they totally believe it. And so that's the sense you get. And you see he's there on screen. He's wearing his armor, and he doesn't have his helmet on, but he's wearing like the battle armor. And you see his bridge officers and stuff are all wearing their armor, and they have weapons at their state. It's like the Mirror Universe Enterprise, you know, where like everyone's armed. That's what it looks like. It looks like everyone is a fighting person in his fleet, and they're always ready for combat. There's like modifications to the bridge. They have those like ejector armor racks on the bridge of the ship, which you guys don't have. And Major Shields is must not regenerate as much as other troopers. He's dark complected, probably like, I don't know what his Earth stock would be like, maybe like African, North African, East African. And he has salt and pepper beard, shaved head. He's got some kind of tattoos or something. It's hard to tell what they are, like going down the back here. And on his hands too, they're kind of covered with markings. He's got scars that haven't been healed by the clone vats. He looks like he's from Warhammer. He's from the Warhammer universe. That's the right vibe for him. He doesn't have actual skulls on his armor, but he would if he could.
Why not? I thought that was the whole point.
Yeah, maybe you can start a new tradition, Morgan, if we're actually wearing the skulls of your enemies.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a contrast, right? There's your bridge, which is like, it looks like the Federation, kind of. Everyone's in their shipboard uniforms, and it's nicely lit. And his is dark. It's got red lighting, and like everyone's in their armor.
It's the Klingons.
It's the Klingons. It's the Warhammer Universe Klingons. And so we jump in to Captain Hall.
Always that red alert.
Exactly. They never turn it off. Captain Hall
Lights
is
off, and it's just a surprise.
she's making her case, like in the TV show edit here. We've come into this briefing already in progress, and she's saying, "Of course, Major, I respect your position. However, I don't think you're taking into consideration the importance of the research that I have been doing. These samples are pristine. I don't know if you appreciate how rare that is. This team," and she sort of indicates the room and Captain Young, is doing very important work, and that work should be allowed to continue. I worked very closely with name of Delta Commander guy who I can't remember right now. She's like name dropping that dude from Stokes. Yes, thank you. I worked very closely with
He was a captain.
Captain Stokes. Yeah. Their ranks are kind of weird, but if that was his official title, yeah. I worked very closely with Captain Stokes aboard the Euphrates, and Shields makes a face when the Euphrates and Stokes are mentioned. He doesn't interrupt her, but he's just like, and I feel like that work should be allowed to continue. And she kind of looks over at you guys like she's a captain. She's a scientist. She should garner just as much respect as everyone else. But you guys know how it is, right? Science division doesn't get the same respect as infantry. So she's not exactly like, hey, back me up on this, because, she's an officer. She can hold her own to some degree, but Shields is not her people, really.
No, he is not.
Yeah. So she makes her case, and you can tell by the look on his face that he is not buying it and is going to make some kind of dire pronouncement or decision. And she has not won him over at this point. So
I'll give a quip on her behalf. It's
okay.
It's probably not exactly what she wants, but I'll actually mention. I'll say some of us here have survived the horrors of the what was our last ship's name? The Euphrates.
Euphrates, yeah.
Yeah, I said there's some of us here who have survived the horrors of the Euphrates, and I'm giving her that, like, you fucking science division people did some weird shit on my boat. Look, but then I kind of like nod and I look over to the screen and I say, like, but Dr. Hall at the time was instrumental in us discovering a cure and helping actually end the situation there. And then I look back at her and I say, I'm fairly confident that she's not going to follow in the rather misguided footsteps of her predecessors.
Shields like notices you, as far as I'm aware, Captain, the only cure we need comes out of the end of a gun.
Oh, you're an FA commander.
Oh yeah, big time. I think you should be able to test NFA though. So it's not mind control. Let's talk about the stakes here. This is just moving the needle from who the hell are you? Why should I listen to you? I'm in charge. To like, oh, okay, this person seems like someone who I should care about.
Of course, you're in charge, sir. You're the major.
That's right. Nice.
Captain Young, sir.
So he says the thing about the cure coming at the end of a gun, and then he says, "You were on the Euphrates as well."
Got my squad and team off, sir.
The official report indicates that it was lost with all hands, but I'm sure Stokes and his boys doctored what they needed to doctor. How many of you were exposed? Just you and Captain Hall? And you see over his shoulder, like his tactical officer, like at the Columbia's like weapons station. There's probably like 4 of them, but he's like, boop, 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 boop. like making adjustments to Columbia's
Targeting.
targeting system. Yeah, they're not targeting your ship right now. It's more like a posturing kind of thing. You know?
I take up a curt position with my hands behind my back and my shoulders and back straight, and I say, there were 4 of us inoculated, although by the time that our pilot got us off the boat, what was the final count? I think we got like what? It was like 1 full squad. Like who all came off?
It's everybody. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 11, 24-ish, maybe something like that.
So I actually give a correct account. I say X amount of us have been inoculated. We've been serving on board this. What's the name of this ship? That one.
The Saratoga.
Yeah, I said we've been acting off.
Or no, sorry, this is the Savannah. I keep saying Saratoga. Sorry.
Yeah, Savannah. Yeah,
Savannah.
I'm gonna say we passed through quarantine. There have been no resurgences of the problems from planet Daisy. Yeah. I think our actions on 847 indicate that we're probably fit for real duty rather than cleanup jobs that go sideways.
I'll be the judge of that, Captain.
Sir, yes, sir.
My orders are quite clear. Apparently the 316 has need of you. However, they do not have need of whatever scum you're carrying aboard your vessel, Doctor. We'll dispose of that before we do anything else. And she's like, once again, I must stress, this is extremely important to Science Division and the development of weapons that we can deploy against. He's like, I've heard enough. I'm sending my team over. You can make a last-ditch plea on her behalf, Josh, but it's politically risky to stand up to him at this point.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
So the thing is that I may not agree with his methods. I may not even agree with his attitude. But yeah, let's take alien things and have another Delta team thing happen on this boat is definitely not in my interest either. And I've seen those aliens like turn needle thin and go through walls and rip entire things apart. And in general, my opinion of Delta Squad is, yes, you may make us some very, very shiny and handy toys, but you folks are dangerous.
Yep. Okay, so we cut to the shot of the airlock, and fully armored troopers from Major Shield's vessel from the Columbia with their helmets sealed have pushed the sleeping bag and all this stuff like in through a quarantine mesh and into the airlock. They come back out and cycle it, and Dr. Hall is there next to you, like glaring.
I think I let my mask slip for just a second, but this is probably not what she'll take it to mean. But what I say is, I lost people for that thing, and that's all I say.
Nice. Yeah, I don't think she quite takes your meaning. And then out into space, and Columbia fires one bolt, and it silently explodes. And the ship, like they shoot a little early, maybe. The Savannah
protocol happening.
Say again, Morgan.
That's the Skywalker sound protocol.
That's right. It simulates sounds inside your helmet for better effect. Yeah, it rocks the Savannah slightly under the detonation, and the tiny particles dissipate. Another quick cut. Let's just keep this moving so we can do a mission today. There's a lot of setup going on. So we cut to the Saratoga, the Savannah briefing room, and Major Shields on the screen. He hasn't come over to your ship. And there's in the hologram planning thingy, there's a bunch of different star systems, like 4-5 different star systems, all labeled with their military designations and little like intel recon reports of what's there. And all of these, they're not in the same sector necessarily. They're kind of spread out, but they've been moved together onto this display. They all have little like biohazard symbols on them. And the Intel report icon that's underneath that is the Delta symbol and the science research symbol, and then a file number, which you guys know, which the like Euphrates incident file number. So it's like attached to your files. The essentially you can tell that it's saying like, don't go here. There's like some weird biohazard stuff, and it matches this other file that we have in the system when the recon people sent back the data. So we see Shields kind of concluding his portion of what he's talking about, which is basically, I won't role play everything here, but he basically says these things have been identified as nests, hives of alien activity that must be destroyed. But in their infinite wisdom, Fleet has decided that only pre-exposed troopers should be tasked with the destruction of these worlds. And you can tell that he has this like disdain when he says that, and you can tell from the readout that like these are they're on his kill list, and they've been like marked off, like you're not allowed to go there. So he's like, I am taking command of the Savannah and its associated troopers, and you will operate under my banner, and you will eradicate these aliens on my behalf. The Columbia will operate in support of these operations for you. And he just is unilaterally making this call.
Yeah.
He's a
Quick
major.
question.
It's actually his right.
Quick question, John. Is this major not part of the 316? Because like we're like the Euphrates, I thought was like, or is the 316 bigger than that?
He is part of 316.
Okay.
He cannot technically take command of your vessel.
Yeah.
As a major, he cannot do that.
Oh.
He would need to be at least let's see,
Colonel, right?
Colonels. A colonel would identify planets for destruction, which is effectively what he's doing. So he's a little above his pay grade here by a rank and a half or so. But he's just saying that's how it is now. And at the end, again, so I don't want to role play everything, but the three factors are, there are these planets that he's been told he's not supposed to go to. So he wants the kills. He was going to use you guys to get them. You're under his banner now, and part of Major Shields is
They need a
division.
nickname.
They need a nickname, yeah. Yeah, they do. They probably have a name, don't they?
Oh yeah, especially if they were like, the heroes of whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't want to say like they're the Spartans, but like that's the first thing I thought of, right?
That's not terrible. I mean, that's the kind of thing people would.
Spartans.
Shield Spartans.
Spartans. Spartans is good.
Or just the hoplites or something like that. Some kind of like
Myrmidons.
Yeah, Oh yeah, that's
The Myrmidons.
Yeah, Myrmidons
Yeah,
actually
okay.
real good. Yeah.
That's cool. I like that. Myrmidons. Yeah, and they have that livery on their armor.
They have an ant.
A very mean looking one. But the last thing he says is Captain Hall is is being court-martialed.
Can they even do that?
He says that's what's happening.
No, that's me. That's Pasternak making.
Oh, that's in character.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you say that, you guys are sitting according to your rank.
That's like, sorry, that would not be in front of his.
Oh.
That's more like sort of like we hear about it. Oh, can they even do that? I thought we're already fucked, right? What's the worst they can do to us?
Okay, if that was out loud in the briefing, I was like, all right, shit's gonna happen.
Yeah.
No. Okay. Cool.
Learn my lesson.
Yeah, he's basically saying that he's making an example of her. He has to use you all, the infected or whatever the fuck you are from the Euphrates, but he's holding her accountable as the surviving ranking officer from that incident, and is putting her through the process of, I mean, it's like disciplinary action to be demoted effectively. Is Goodman, you're familiar with that. And again, he's just like deciding this, right? He's just, which, you know, with a major, that's not way out of line for him to do that. The other stuff is sketchy. He doesn't actually have orders from the 316 to do what he's doing right now. As far as you can tell, he was ordered not to go to these worlds.
So, just so at this point, I want to talk to you in as a player, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I, as Strash, I happen to know that the major's orders are Order 9 is complete missions as directed by senior ranks. So he is in some very muddy waters here. Like he's literally going against his own personal directive, as far as I'm able to gather, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. I'll give him some rope to hang himself with.
Yeah, I think out of character and in character, you have some general picture of how those upper major is still a fighting rank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last fighting rank, if I recall.
Pretty much the last fighting rank, and you have experience with majors on the field before, and so you've had some experiences of like them having to answer to their lieutenant colonel bosses and that kind of stuff. So you know that this is strange. Or he's just extremely popular and can do what he wants, or who knows.
Yeah. To me, it always seems like the major is sort of like the priest that listens to the shadowy cabal known as the top brass, right? They go behind the curtain, they come back and say, "Kill this planet," and I am the faithful servant of.
Yep. But it's obvious that this time he didn't go behind the curtain, or he went behind the curtain. We heard yelling like, no, you will not do that. And he comes out and goes, we will do this.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's being very brazen about it. You know, he didn't have his team like doctor the recon reports or anything. Yeah. It obviously says like quarantine according to this thing. Don't go there. And he's like, you're going to go there. We're going to do this. Fuck that. So yeah, he's not trying to hide it.
You exposed, or whatever the fuck you're called, soldiers.
So unless someone wants to like do something about it, that's the nature of the briefing. There's 4 new worlds that are off limits, and he wants to effectively like use you to keep his perfect record.
Of course.
Yeah. So after that, the briefing concludes. View screen goes off. Captain Hall like goes back to her quarters, probably to like call to headquarters and face the music and do whatever she's going to do. I'll probably make some rolls actually for that. In the meantime, though, Strash, as the captain, like you have the tactical briefing readout, and everyone's kind of milling around. It's out in the open. Everyone's there. All the troopers are here. And the major didn't specify, like he's treating you as like a captain under his command now, and he's given you this set of worlds and is like, this is what we're going to do. So he expects you to like come back to him with like, okay, first we're going to go here.
Awesome. Does the first planet have a name?
Yeah. So they have just designations right now. You guys will get to decide on the naming convention when you decide on the plan of attack here. I will tell you from the recon reports, you can make some basic decisions about where to start. Yeah, I meant to make a graphic about this, but whatever. So they are rated according to the survey's threat level, basically. So I am going to give you
rated in out of 1 out of 4 skull and crossbones.
Yeah. And these aren't necessarily accurate, but they're what the recon people reported, and it will correspond to a range. Essentially, this is the potential AA of the planets.
Makes sense.
In the mechanics of the game.
While you're writing them out, I couldn't help but think, and I said it in chat. It's like, imagine the Columbia showing up is very similar to like the Pegasus in Battlestar.
Oh yeah,
It's like that's all shiny and just military ready.
Admiral Kane, I think, is the touchstone for all characters like this. At least for me, anyway. Especially when it's Michelle Forbes.
Same.
I mean, Lloyd Bridges is awesome.
Lloyd Bridges was also awesome. Don't get me wrong, but he's no Michelle Forbes. So Strush. So right now they're let's just call them Planet 1, Planet 2, Planet 3, Planet 4. Planet 1's AA range is 7 to 9. Haha, that's funny. The complicated one.
Yeah.
Planet 2's AA range is
risky standard.
4 to 9. Yeah, 4. It should be 4 or 5. So it's 7 to 9, 4 to 9. That one they didn't get good readings. Planet 3's AA is 7 or 8. And Planet 4's is, what is this? Highest NFA plus. For people at home, some of the AA calculations use the troopers' stats as some of their basis. So you're kind of like curves over time. Some of them drive the AA down, and some of the calculations drive it up, depending on what you roll. So this is highest NFA of 8 plus divided by 2, 4, 12. Okay, apparently AA can be 10. So it's 10 for Planet 4.
That's a yikes from me.
That's a bad one.
So I guess we pick that one from orbit.
I guess so. I think the scout
calling an airstrike and done.
The scout report for that one was like 2 lost recon vessels, and then they just put 10. It's like nah. Like, forget it. We didn't get any readings. So there are other details, like, it has planet composition and like, a wet planet or a dry, various details like that we'll get to later. But I think those threat reports are what you need to base your decisions on, probably, as a plan of attack. But if you have questions, I can answer questions.
Not really. I think what we're gonna do is probably tackle Planet 3, and maybe we'll give these like Greek letter designations, unless this is a bad idea.
That's cool. Yeah.
Birds.
Sure. There's a lot to draw from there.
So I think we're probably gonna tackle Planet 3, which I'll designate Osprey.
Okay.
I'll have them go and freaking figure out what the hell is going on with that 4 to 9 on Kingfisher.
Yeah, if you glance at the report, the wide range was one analysis of the data showed like large it's Subnautica terms, that Leviathan class predators, and then one of the other data analysis from Science Division was like, they're probably herbivores, they're probably docile, so they lowered the threat rating down. But you see like the silhouette on the scan, of this like giant creature. Like, it's
some
probably
assholes never heard of a Cape buffalo or a hippo.
That's right. They were extinct like thousands of years ago, so people don't remember that stuff.
Nobody reads
cool.
anymore. It's a sadness.
It is. It's a shame.
Yeah, I think we're going to tackle Osprey, which is Planet 3, rating 7 to 8, and we'll figure out what the hell is going on with that 10. It's just way out there.
Yeah. Okay, so...
Yeah, I start dividing up the divisions. I take a look at the planet, and I start rotating it, like planning LZs and like what the campaign's going to be like over the surface and whatnot.
how would you like in your report? So it looks like what Shields wants is he wants you to make the initial planetary assault and for them to be in support. Actually, why don't you test NFA, Strash? This is a new thing as an officer. Like you kind of have some insider info you might be able to leverage here.
Yep.
Nice. He's looking for an excuse, right? He's not supposed to land and do assaults, but if you guys get in trouble or something, then like, oh well, they needed their backup, so we had to go down, or otherwise we would have lost them. So it's like he's like, it's your responsibility, you're gonna do it, but like the second you're like, we need reinforcement or whatever, he's just gonna fucking land and do it himself.
They didn't report back in 5 minutes. Already prepped the APC. Let's
go. Yeah,
we have an APC now, friends.
Yeah.
Hooray!
You do, and I think we'll see the APC soon. So okay, Planet Osprey. It is.
I mean, I don't think we said they exist, but if they did exist, I'm pretty sure the major would have a mech.
Ooh, fun. So chat, people at home, 316 GMs. Here's a fun thing about 316. I knew today probably Strash was going to become a captain. I knew Major Shields was going to come in. I didn't prep any details about the planets or aliens beyond the idea of these 4 things. So this is a great thing about this game. You don't need to. You can just do this. So I rolled low gravity for Planet Osprey.
Is that the Leviathan one?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, this is AA 7 to 8, low gravity world.
Still gonna be a bitch.
Well, I mean, for Tech Corporal Pasternak, who's already shown their like 0G skills, I think it'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Yeah, can I requisition a EV pack again?
You perhaps, yeah.
We gotta get some goddamn jump jets.
That's right.
My backpack's got jets.
And the alien creature form, as established by Recon, is artificial life forms. It's category 3 on the Recon report. So that's a designation that you have in the field manual, and it includes
cyber squids. It is.
Yeah, it includes fully or partially mechanoid creatures, cybernetic life forms, and droids or whatever. Artificial life forms, and let's see. Hang on. You're a captain now. You have like information, Strash.
I do.
I am going to do a thing. So I'm going to expose this for people at home. I am testing NFA for a plucky scout months ago who came to this world and may or may not have had close contact with the artificial life forms and gotten some extra information. So I think scouts are high NFA types. So I'm going to give them a 7. And let's see if they succeed. They do with a 7.
Woo! Best they can do. So plucky.
I'm not even going to be vague about it. They came into close contact with the aliens, and the aliens deployed. They have these alien ability called leaping. And I will even tell you exactly how that works because that scout report was perfect. Damn cyber frogs on our planets eating our corn. They can move 2 range steps in combat. It does not cost any threat tokens to do so. So they can move you guys around by 2 every time they move you.
All right.
So and so obviously in the fiction in the report, the scout wrote about how these artificial life forms were in the low gravity environment. I like Morgan's idea of like booster rocket type stuff. So and they're artificial, so they have like thrusters and stuff that can zip them around in the low gravity. And there's a few attached images from the scout of these. They're not humanoid. They're like radially symmetrical.
Starfish with jets.
Robot jet starfish. Not again. Not again.
That's not the last time.
Just once, I want to fight something with a head. Just one.
Robot jet starfish. Not again.
This is just like the last time.
Yeah. Robot Jet Starfish is my favorite prog rock album.
So, Strash, I'm putting you on the spot here. I hope that's okay.
No problem.
What are your orders, Captain? How would you like to use? Now you know that you probably ultimately Shields is going to step in, and you're going to have a larger force. So you could include that in your recommendations if you want to, or you can pretend that it's just your 2 squads.
No, I'm going to pretend it's just our 2 squads. I think that if the time comes, I'll probably talk to some of the lieutenants about how this is probably going to go sort of long term. But I think that I start setting up, like, I outline some stuff. I mentioned that, we're looking at some of the recon scan stuff. I've talked it over with some of my science personnel, and I point out a couple of areas where essentially, like, all right, so our first assault is going to be into this zone. This is where we're going to set up our LZ. Ultimately, our goal is to clean them out from this area, because what we really want to do is set up, like, base camp on top of this. It's like some crater with, like, floating rocks in the, like, low gravity that bounce around. It's really dangerous, but there's a large clump of rock that's actually, like, super dense and highly metallic that's going to allow us to anchor, because it, like, provides, like, a stable gravity field and let us, like, set up on it, that kind of stuff.
And it's sort of protected by this ring of floating debris that makes it hard to get into.
Yep.
Cool.
So I'm like, yeah, so we're going to land here. We're going to go from here. Basically, our initial campaign is basically to push in there. At that point, we'll have, like, stable communications with the ships, and we'll start, like, dealing with tactical surface deploys. The first team's responsibility is to go here and do this. I'm actually transitioning into briefing. Do you want me to do a briefing, or do you want
Sure,
me
if you want to transition, that's fine. Yeah. I'm hearing so far, like, in fact, in the TV show, it's like you're looking at the map and you start doing analysis and stuff, and the camera goes down, and then when it pans back up again, you're in warp, and like people are at the briefing and you're talking to them.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I'm at that point. I'm, just like at 0700 hours. The first drop is going to go here. We are expecting to encounter heavy resistance in this, and this area from our readings. Now things get a little fuzzy over here, specifically because of that large metal deposit field, and makes scanners a little unreliable. So we're going to actually make sure that we have some vehicles giving you support fire when you're actually moving into that zone. And I break it down sort of like this hour, this vector, this vector. So on and so forth. And I'm like, specifics of your suit modifications, I'm going to pass over to our science officer. Pasternak, take it away. Every time. John puts me on the spot, I put you on the spot. That's how the chain of command works.
Everyone swivels and looks at you, and
so I kind of stand up and the suits have been modified. Tech specs have been sent out. Make sure they're there. Don't want any fuck ups. There's nothing. I mean,
you haven't done anything.
No, because what can I do?
I don't know.
This is the first time I've heard the information. Apparently, I was briefed in the science portion of it.
So you can test NFA, Morgan.
Okay.
And I can tell you a thing. It's not going to help you too much, I don't think. Nope. Yeah. Nope. Nothing.
I adjusted the modifications here and there a little bit, but it's really no real difference.
Okay.
Racing stripes.
You painted them red so they go faster.
Nice.
Exactly.
So establish a base with vehicle support fire, and then we'll do phase 2 after that.
Sounds good.
That's what I'm hearing. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Nice. So you transmit your tactical to the Columbia. and it comes back like immediately. You hit it and it comes back like, approved for, like, no one read it. It's obvious. It just like, it's like ding, and you just get it back. Like, yeah, go ahead. We're gonna ignore that and just attack when as soon as we can. So whatever. But that's the plan. And you succeeded at NFA, so you know, like, technically what they probably need to make an excuse to come down and do the full assault. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. So we cut to first the Savannah, coming out of warp into the system, and it's Hollywood star system with a beautiful nebula in the background that's the sun is shining through, and the whole thing is this reddish gold light everywhere. The planet itself is this dead kind of Mars-like world. It doesn't really have an atmosphere, and it shows signs of some kind of catastrophic event, like huge nuclear-sized craters and stuff around it, and this spider web of maybe they were cities or something that have all been blown apart and long ago destroyed.
Yeah, like nerve synapses, right?
Yeah, like built into the rock of the planet, like going out. But it's all dark and no lights there. But one of the moons, the low gravity environment in one of the moons, still has this network of some of these large towers that are technological. They're like metal, kind of ropey, braided cable looking. And some of them have pulses of light going through them. They don't get huge. They're like maybe 100 feet tall, anchored in the surface of the moon. It's a Earth-like kind of moon, like dusty, gray surface, micrometeorite, powdery kind of thing. But it does have the debris of something that you got in the scans, both rocks and some sort of metallic technology that's orbiting close to the surface. So there's a bunch of stuff in the air, so to speak, drifting around, particularly around that magnetic deposit that you found. There's a swirling, not like a horrible maelstrom, but like hard to navigate around that area. And it's kind of a dead zone too. And it's tidally locked, the moon, and the facing side, the side facing the planet, has some sort of what's obviously a weapon system built to probably toss rocks at the planet or something like that. Like a big rail gun kind of thing with spars that come out and these magnetic rings set in it. But it doesn't seem active. It's this giant facility. It's like Star Wars size, like this gigantic, the rings are like a mile across, it's crazy. But it seems inert. And as you come out ahead of the Savannah is significantly faster. It's a cutter, so it can like warp super fast. And the Columbia won't catch up unless you want to go slow, so you arrive at the same time. But that wasn't part of your orders, so you can do what you want. So it won't arrive for a few days probably. However, before we go to break, that's the external stuff. That's what the audience sees of all the things. And then on the bridge, they're getting readouts, and you're on your captain's officer's tablet, Strash, you're getting like a feed from the bridge, like showing different things. A quick character question. Pasternak, Goodman, and you too, Young. Like, you never had a captain that like showed you was like, hey, check it out.
Yeah.
And like hung around with you and shared information. How do you do that, Strash? What is Young doing? Are you off on your own in your own brand new officers' quarters by yourself, or are you with the team?
I think this is kind of the gist that I'm trying to project. So like I'm not 100% sure that this is going to come across unless I say it. So I'm just going to like state it. But I feel like to some extent, even though he's very different than I am, Pasternak has some of the similar views that I do, and I know that when we've been in deep shit, he's bailed us out of it. So in a way, I know that he is not super high rank, but I am kind of grooming him for ascent through the ranks. So I don't think that I'm like jokingly like, hey guys, check it out, I'm a captain now, right? But like, I may actually have him in some briefings and ask his opinion on stuff that maybe normally wouldn't be done with a corporal. And if anybody questions it, I'll just be like, well, he's the science officer. What science officers do? I mean, I know. Did you guys get the memo? Oh, it must be a captain thing. So
wait, say that again, Morgan. I didn't hear you.
I was just saying this tech badge has been a curse. It's really
seriously
kept my mouth shut and shot my gun.
Never volunteer for anything. Come on, that's like rule number 1.
Sir, yes, sir.
So in this particular case, when you're looking at your data pad, it Pasternak's with you and is like looking at the structure and the weapon and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, among other things, he's one of the few people in my squad that I trust with complex tech analysis, right? Like, he may not always get it, but like between the two of us putting our heads together, we actually have a better shot.
Cool.
So yeah.
Cool. Okay. So then, the moment before we go to break is the landing alarms going off. We see the camera pans through the various 316 bunks. Everyone's jumping into their racks, or armor racks in their lockers, and suits are clanking on, and weapons are sliding down on their rails, and people are checking their charges and clicking into the systems to drop down. And we see everyone arriving. This time, previously, you guys were like loaded into drop ships directly through the sort of passenger side doors. This time, though, you have an APC. And I think you got one from Major Shields's ship. Because you are owed one as a captain, and they have plenty to spare. So perhaps this one is like painted. It's painted red, and like a lot of the paint's been chipped away. It has the Myrmidon symbol painted on the front of it. It's super Warhammer. It has like the equivalent of like future space razor wire like wrapped around various parts of it. It has spikes on the front. It's like modified like cow catcher thing with blades and spikes, sticking out of it. It just looks like it's ridiculous, but it's very 316. Like, this is the kind of stuff that,
They're like, APC, no, this is just a regular bulldozer.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you've seen these Earth Mover APCs before, but this one has been modified with weapons.
They wouldn't even give us the normal APC with like the tactical nukes on it.
So I assume, Captain, that your first squad is going in the APC, and second is in the passenger portion of the dropship, and the APC loads, and Lucille hits the jets, and there's not a drop this time because you're going from space to low gravity, so she just thrusts down towards the planet. And we will do planetary landing and assault when we come back. We'll get to some action. 316 action.
Yeah, thanks everybody. All right, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back in about 5 minutes for the last third here of 316 episode 8. So see you all on the other side of the break.